Welcome, IT changemakers, to the DEX Show with Tim Flower and Tom McGraw. Let's get into it.
Hello, changemakers. Welcome back to an extremely special anniversary edition DEX Show. I'm Tom McGraw, joined by my main man, Tim Flower. And Tim, one thing I always notice about the show lately is I stay in the same place and you kind of make your way steadily around the world. You know, this is a theme I've noticed. I'm just stationary. You're constantly on the move. Where are you today, Tim?
Yeah, so I experiment with different backgrounds and keep everybody on their toes. I am on, believe it or not, my 9th week on the road, 9 out of the last 10 weeks on the road. Just got back from a great DEX, Masters of DEX out in San Jose, and made my way here over to Dallas to see a really great American Airlines company. And then I'll be home by midnight tonight.
Well, listen, this sounds like an HR issue, Tim.
It's actually, it's a testament to the company. I can work from anywhere in the world. I can drop in and see my parents in Arizona. I can see my son in Boston. The flexibility is outstanding, and we have Pedro to thank for that.
I was going to say, if you're wondering, listeners, why Tim is being quite so gracious, 9-week stint, it is because we are joined by Nexthink founder and CEO for the third time, Pedro Bados. Pedro, welcome back. So nice to have you.
Thank you very much, Tom and Tim. I gotta say, it's a privilege to be here with you both. I went to a Gartner event a few weeks ago, and actually everybody knew Tim because of this podcast. Not so much they knew Nexthink and myself, but definitely the DEX podcast was there. So congratulations, massive success.
Thank you so much. Shout out to everyone at Gartner listening. We love you. Keep tuning in.
Yeah.
For a second there, I thought you were going to say not so much you, Tom. I was prepared.
I did too.
Okay, everyone just here's the true show. That's fine.
I'm sure if you were there, Tom, if you were there, they would have recognized you as well. I just happened to be in the room.
Don't butter me up. It's okay. But it is Pedro, the 20th anniversary of the wonderful company that you founded. And I got to begin by asking, how does it feel to have founded a company almost old enough to drink in the US?
It feels great. And honestly, I think right now we are in a position at Nexthink in which everything works pretty well. I think we have a pipeline of great technology. When I talk about AI right now, that is one of my passions. We have a great team. We have more and more customers. The analysts out there, they are recognizing the category. There are more and more CIOs that they are understanding employee experience is one of the top priorities. And I think, honestly, with more energy than ever before, I'm committed for another 20 years.
Listen, I'm not just saying it. There's a great vibe at Nexthink. It's a great place to work. And we've got incredible momentum this year. It's absolutely true. And we are, as you say, Pedro, going to be focusing and honing in a little bit on AI and the future of DEX, which I think is a fascinating topic. But since it's a 20th anniversary edition of the show, and since the company is rooted in an exploration of AI, I thought we could begin there because not everyone will know, Pedro, that the Nexthink was effectively born out of your own, I believe, AI postgraduate study at the EPFL in Switzerland now over 2 decades ago. So I thought an interesting place to begin would be like, what was your initial interest in AI? Why did you want to study it? Because now everybody's talking about it, not so much in, I guess, the very early noughties, right?
Absolutely. So I think like any other kid, when I was very young, I really fell in love with technology. And in my particular case, artificial intelligence was kind of a way of almost doing magic with technology. Almost creating life, right? Almost creating, intelligent systems that they can really enhance. They can really, today we say co-pilot certain tasks. And that was really, I thought it was really a lot of fun and a great challenge. And I spent a lot of time when I was young, obviously coding, computer games that they were trying, to emulate intelligence back in the days, very, very primitive. But I really fell in love with this domain. And actually, that was one of the reasons, or the main reasons, why I moved to Switzerland when I was 20 years old, to really complete my studies at the Artificial Intelligence Laboratory in the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology. And there, obviously, I was exposed to a lot of different technologies, case-based reasoning, hidden Markov models, neural networks, some other techniques for speech recognition, and I really loved it.
Mm-hmm. And to what degree have you continued to follow in the intervening decades the continued emergence of AI? Has it been a passion over the last couple of decades? I mean, now it's increasingly at the forefront of what we do and what we make, but is it something you're able to keep up with from an almost academic perspective?
I have to say a little bit. What is interesting in AI, before the transformers they came out, it was quite an open, I would say, battlefield. There were a lot of techniques. I think computer vision probably was the most promising technology in AI until the LLMs they came out. The possibility to look at X-rays and being able to diagnostic cancer and problems and things like that. They were kind of the most promising application of AI. So computer vision, definitely. LLM models, speech recognition, automatic translations and things like that using AI techniques were very promising. So I was kind of following that. When Google invested also, buying a big company in AI, yet was able to learn how to play games. All these type of things were really exciting. But obviously in the last 18 months, everything accelerated so much that I was even spending more time than before.
If you could go back, I mean, obviously AI was kind of baked into the prototype that became Nexthink that you designed at EPFL. If you could go back and change something to almost future-proof us to the way AI has subsequently developed, what would it be? Is there some change you would make in the past to better prepare us for the future, or has it worked out kind of perfectly?
I think that's a great question. I think everybody who was somehow working on AI was not very optimistic about neural networks. So in my particular case, I really did a lot of research in hidden Markov models, which is kind of a neural network in which you have some sort of hidden states. And then you basically, these hidden states, they have some observable states that actually you can see. And therefore you try to infer, the hidden states and the weights behind, which, it was great. It was working up to a certain point in some particular problems. But the fact that we were able to emulate the complexity of human beings and actually the entire world into a neural network, like happens today with the transformers and the scalability there, was kind of unexpected, right? Even for those who actually invented the transformer, the initial use case was quite different, was in translation. So that is something that I guess everybody kind of missed. And obviously, I mean, from Nexthink perspective, if we had known that, probably would have invested a little bit more in neural networks and this type of technologies. But right now we're, catching up.
We're doing all right. I mean, maybe a good thing to do actually for listeners who don't already know Pedro is give a picture of what AI is already with Nexthink making possible in digital employee experience, like as we speak today.
Absolutely. And, sometimes people, they think of AI like Gen AI, and obviously because of, all ChatGPT and all these models, but there is a lot of different techniques in AI. So the first thing that for us is really interesting when, you are a data company, you actually need AI models that they're able to understand data. They're able to give predictions. They're able to understand root cause analysis when a metric or a certain value in the data is abnormal. So we invested a lot in AI algorithms that they are able to capture, all these trends in the different customers and understanding when something breaks in a particular customer, being able to predict it in another customer. This is a module called Cloud Intelligence, and we actually invested quite a lot in AI algorithms and statistics to make sure that at the end of the day, not only we say there is something abnormal, but we are able to explain it. Because that's one of the challenges sometimes with AI. It's not about giving a diagnostic, but also explaining to a human being why. So this is one area. The other area that I think is closer to LLMs is what we call Nexthink Assist. So we think the paradigm between software and users of software is going to change. People, they're not going to spend a lot of time in the UI unless you are really an expert. So you're going to basically tell the system what you want. I want to understand which employees they have issues with these applications, which employees are not adopting this particular digital service. How can I improve this particular office in terms of digital experience? And you're going to say it in a very natural language. So you need now to democratize the world of DEX. And obviously, LLMs are a perfect candidate for that, because you can basically take these dialogues, this voice now, especially with ChatGPT 4.0, and then translate it into actions or dashboards or anything that you can do in a DEX solution like Nexthink.
So Pedro, I want to explore AI from a couple of different angles. The first is some of the misconceptions, right? So right now, AI models are seen as having immense power, increasing power every day, almost exponentially. And some people may believe that AI can eventually just incorporate DEX into themselves, right? We've talked in the past about that black hole theory where it's going to just consume everything and leave a DEX specific vendor like us behind. What assumptions does that overlook, and how does it influence our investments moving forward?
Yes, so let me maybe clarify this black hole concept. And it's true that, for the last 12 months, many companies, they try to build IP around LLM models. And then LLM models, they kept expanding. And therefore, this IP is kind of part of the LLM model, right? More and more. I think what is going to happen with DEX and any domain which is very specific is that you're going to need to take those models that they are pretty good at generic information, common sense information, 99% of the case, and you want to transform that into an expert, which is quite right 100% of the time. So one of the things that is really important is fine-tuning, and fine-tuning is very primitive today. So taking this foundational knowledge of an LLM and saying, oh, now this model is going to become an expert in DEX, or is going to be an expert in this particular task. That's something that is not clear today in the market. You need a specific data, and you need a specific technologies, which probably are not LLMs, to really get to that point of proficiency. I think what is really important to understand as well is LLMs are extremely good at, everybody knows, right, predicting the next word. So basically looking like they are saying the right thing. However, they're not so good at complex reasoning. So the human being is much more, I would say, and that's changing, but it's better at understanding these kind of concepts and then making a plan based on the evidences in front of us. LLM models is more like an iterative way of saying what is common sense, right? So it's still unclear what will be the level of reasoning in an LLM. I think they are progressing a lot, but it's still unclear. And some people, they actually think LLM technologies will not be very good at reasoning and complex reasoning. And DEX will need complex reasoning because it's a complex problem. On the other side, also you need data. And obviously a company like Nexthink has all the different data that you require to train those models. So, LLM will be a very important part of the DEX of the future, but still, I think there will be other set of technologies and data that they are required.
So with that misconception maybe handled a little bit there, we can't also discount the big players, right? There are 4 or 5 big data and analytics, the Microsofts, the Googles, the Metas of the world. How do you see those large players encroaching into our market, right? What are the implications for specialized vendors like us and a category like DEX as the bigger models evolve and potentially could start to specialize as well?
Our view on that is DEX, it's a fast-growing market. It's one of the most important markets for an IT department. But I think right now the battle for OpenAI, Meta, Microsoft, AWS is even more fundamental than that, right? It's really the race to get a more intelligent, a more multitask type of system. So I don't think they are really focused on specializing their models for specific domains. I think they are expecting the ecosystem to take those models and to actually specialize them. And that's at least what we're seeing. So I think we have a great opportunity to actually continue leveraging all the research, all the great innovation from Microsoft, OpenAI, AWS, and open source. I think we have to say something about Meta and their commitment to open source to really have a super powerful DEX solution.
So it's not very often, I would think, that folks have an opportunity to get some advice from someone that's been in this space for so long. When we go to conferences, like you said, we went to Gartner, last week was ServiceNow's Knowledge. It seems that every vendor has tacked on a .ai onto their product or their company name. It feels a lot like bolt-on. It feels a lot like marketing and a little less reality. What advice would you give to an enterprise IT team as they develop their holistic AI strategy, maybe not specific to DEX? And how do they cut through the noise and really figure out if capability is real? Is it something that actually fits in their strategy? And how does an AI DEX product complement that broader strategy? What advice do you have to navigate this funny new world?
It's a great question, Tim. Absolutely. There is, like any other, emerging space, there is a lot of great things, but also there is a lot of hype. And sometimes, it feels for me that there is a lot of companies that are just taking ChatGPT, putting some technology around and selling it like, disruptive innovation. I think it's very important to understand the full chain, to understand really what LLMs are able to do, and what they are not able to do, because LLMs, they do have some limitations, especially when it comes to reasoning, as I said, or data. They are not able to reason with a lot of numerical data. Just maybe let me give you a small anecdote. ChatGPT at 3.5 was not able to do the addition of two large numbers, right? It was very hard. So because they are optimized for text, right? And that some of these things, they're changing, but still, they don't have the concepts that we have as human beings. So understanding those limitations are really important, because we need to separate, I would call it the killing use cases, where LLM models, generative AI, it's really changing the game from summarization, I think chatbots up to a certain point, versus other use cases in which probably is more a co-pilot at best, or actually is not really a great solution because they are not really designed for that problem, right? I don't foresee in the short term, for instance, ChatGPT being a great financial analyst, things like that, right? It might happen, down the road, but today it's specialized in other things.
So you've been in this world for over 20 years, but it seems like the last 12 to 18 months, it's really just exploded into everybody's consciousness, right? Generative AI in the last year or so is all anybody can talk about. What have you seen? What's the influence over that last 12 months, and how has it changed your vision of the future? What do you think the next 3 to 5 years looks like for this industry in terms of benefit to customers, product development? How has the last year changed your outlook for the future?
I think it's not only me; it's the entire humanity. I
Mm,
was reading yesterday that actually the website of OpenAI got more than 85 million people in one day, which is a new record
wow.
for a website. I think human beings, we are very good at, we get very excited with something that looks like human. It could be an alien, it could be a chatbot, it could be, oh, it looks like a human. And then we got really excited about it. So we have some sort of, because we really care about humans, right? And I think ChatGPT probably was this moment in which, oh, it looks like human. It looks like real intelligence, human intelligence. So obviously that created a lot of emotions, but we don't have to forget that, and I'm part of the people that think that this is just a great tool. It's a great tool. I think it's very useful for many domains. We saw some demos the other day about automatic or real time translation. That's amazing. Content summarization. They will be able to, for instance, every kid could have a tutor, to learn how to do math, how to do reading, writing. So it's a great tool, and I think it will continue evolving, adding more and more capabilities. I'm not sure about what they call general intelligence, because at the heart of an LLM model is a great simulation of a human being or a great simulation of the world, but it's a simulation. We have to understand it's a simulation. It doesn't work like a human brain. It works in another way that looks like. Uh, So, and that's more of a philosophical question. Uh, it's a simulation, I would say, a perfect simulation is the same as a human being, because you cannot make the distinction, right? So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it's a simulation or not a simulation. At the end of the day, if it's a perfect simulation, it's the same as general intelligence. So there's this philosophical debate. I'm part of the again, I'm part of the people that think that humans are much more than intelligence. We have emotions. We actually do care about humans. When you look at what's going on with the chess, for instance, right? We have computers for a while that they were able to beat the best chess masters, and still we are very passionate about people playing chess, and we almost put computers on the side. We don't care about them, we care about the people. So we really care about people, and I think that will continue, and we'll have these tools that they will be better and better, like computers. They're better and better, but always really on the side, not on top of us. That's kind of the future that I think.
But back to Nexthink's 20th anniversary, there was a phrase actually Tim brought to the discussion when we were preparing to the show that he'd heard you use. It was integrated human system. And he was saying that I think you were talking at some event that Tim was at, and saying that the usual cliche of a company being like a family was something you put aside, and you preferred the notion of an integrated human system. And we were interested in hearing what that meant to you and how that is reflected in Nexthink.
Yes, I think sometimes it's really hard for people when they join companies to realize that a company is very similar to a human body, in the sense that you might work in the marketing department, you might work on the sales department, you might work as an engineer, but at the end of the day, for the company to perform, every system has to perform up to a certain level, right? And the outcome of one system is the input of another system. So let me give an example, right? The output of the engineering department probably is taken by product management. Product management is giving that to pre-sales or the sales department, and they're taking that to the customer, back to probably customer success, and that feedback is back to product management and engineering. So it's actually a loop. And for a company to perform, every system which is coupled, loosely coupled but coupled somehow, needs to perform well. And when there is one system that doesn't work well, the entire company suffers, and the entire company feels that, right? And it's a little bit the same. I try to illustrate that with the human body, right? If your muscles or your bones or your nerves or whatever doesn't work 100%, the entire body suffers. And I think that's the kind of the image that I try to explain to people when they join. So therefore, they put the company first, their own team second, and probably themselves third when they make decisions.
It's very cool. And what would you say outside of that? What are your guiding principles as founder and CEO today, 20 years into your Nexthink journey? What continues to inspire and form your thinking as the leader here?
You know, I'm part of these people that I think what we like is the journey in life. I mean, at some point we all gonna die. We know that, right? We're gonna look backwards and we're gonna say, what was it worth? And one of the things that I think it's really worthy for me is to build something with a great team and to help a lot of customers, to make sure that we are really improving one part of their lives, and get up every morning and have a great team with great ideas and great execution. And I honestly feel that right now at Nexthink we have it more than ever before. So we have so many interesting opportunities ahead of us, so many great people in the company that honestly, it doesn't feel like, oh, it's 20 years, therefore we are tired. It's the opposite. I think we have more energy than 20 years ago. So it might be surprising, but it's actually great. There is sometimes in startups a little bit of a transactional mindset. Oh, you want to build a company and then you want to sell the company, or an IPO, and then something like that. That's not the way we wanted to run Nexthink. We really wanted to build a company for 100 years in which people they can thrive. We call it a school of talent. People they can grow. You look at management and many other people, they have been in the company 10 years and still they are world-class managers and executives. That's really what we want to build. And I think we are actually succeeding, and people internally, they really appreciate that.
We just had Gregoire on the show, your first ever employee, and still here incredibly and still enjoying himself. So, as a testament to that. One
Yes.
area that's obviously evolved with Nexthink's own growth and evolution is our experience events, Pedro. I believe pre-registration is now live and people can check the show notes if they want to get their tickets to Boston or London this year now. But for you, what is your vision for experience going forward, and what excites you about doing the show? I'm not sure how many years into experience are we now, Pedro? About 10.
Yeah, I would say so. I think about 10 experience events. I think there were like probably 2, 3 during COVID that we call it experience everywhere.
Yeah, indeed.
Online, and then now we are back to meeting customers and partners and everybody in person, which is great. And actually this year is special because the first year that we're going to do more than Nexthink experience is actually the DEX conference in the world. I think there are a couple of things. One is we saw this gap in the market in which there is actually not a great conference in which head of end user computing, VP of infrastructure, people that they really care about digital experience, they could meet and they could learn. And that's what we are trying to do this year, like the conference for end user computing, right? Professionals. So that's one. And the other really is that we look at the market and we see that there are technologies like TSM and many others that actually the paradigm is changing, right? Employees don't want to open tickets. Companies, they want to get rid of incidents. They want to be proactive. So actually, we think DEX is actually DEX plus AI probably would be the solution for that in the next 3-4 years. And to get there, we need the community. We need really people believing. We need people showing the projects. There is tremendous success in many companies around the world, reducing incidents, improving experience. And I think that's the forum in which they're going to show all that.
I think I just heard the IT firefighters drive by you there. They're on their way to the next outage.
everything's on fire in Boston, everyone. No, it's a great point. And again, people, if you've never been to an experience event, make sure this is your first visit this very year. And also, look, we went into some Nexthink lore today. If you want to know more about the origins and growth of Nexthink, which we only touched upon tangentially in this conversation, you can check out our, I think, classic episode with Pedro and co-founders Vincent and Patrick. Free Magic Kings, it's called. It was a really, really superb discussion, and we'll include links to that in the show notes. Also, just remains for me to say thank you so much, Pedro, for coming back on the show. It was lovely to have you in a great discussion.
Thanks, Pedro.
Thank you very much. It's my honor to be with you guys.
To make sure that you never miss an episode, subscribe to the show in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast player. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure to leave a rating of the show. Just tap the number of stars you think the podcast deserves. If you'd like to learn more about how Nexthink can help you improve your digital employee experience, head over to nexthink.com. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.